Chris, can you help me with something that I'm legitimately confused by as we talk right now? I was going to start right now by saying, what a delightful treat to have in the studio at the same time radio legends Jonathan Zaslow and Stugotz. I don't think they're normally in the same studio together. I cannot remember the last time. Have they ever worked together here? Here comes Stugotz. I was just going to wonder, where's Stugotz? Because I don't think you two have worked together recently.
Not recently, but
no,
yes.
But we did it here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how many times have you done it?
I think once here and maybe once in the Clevelander.
How about at 790?
Oh, yeah, a few times.
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a gathering right now, a nostalgic gathering for people who have been listening to 790 since its inception of two legends.
Hired me.
Well, he hired you, and legends of such strength that Amin El-Hassan, one of our giant personalities around here, is flying in with emergency desperation from the Memphis Golden State game that he was at last night, which is great, by the way.
Great game.
Just great. Takes everything Steph and Jimmy got to take out finger guns.
Yeah.
Amin flies in with desperation and urgency to come and bring us the information from last night's game, but has to step aside for the legendary Zaslow so that he can interact with the legendary Stugotz. And I don't love that for Amin. I got to be honest.
We all have to sacrifice.
I don't love that Amin's.
I'll sacrifice my seat if Amin wants to sit here.
It's not that I don't love Amin causing the chaos that Jessica causes in that seat. I'm just saying that I don't know whether Amin is hurt or not by Jonathan Zaslow, someone that he perhaps doesn't know that well. Jonathan Zaslow, who wasn't available to us earlier this week because he's very busy with ESPN now. He was doing very busy ESPN things.
I'm a big deal.
Legend.
Well, I mean, it's a big deal and was a big deal at ESPN too.
Was and is are
ESPN
two different things.
Also.
Yeah, I mean.
He didn't hear what you said. He was too busy talking. He didn't see you there because he's ready to do the show with Zaslow.
Yeah, I mean, Amin's in the other room.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
That's a lot of work Amin is doing to get back here to Florida this morning for this show after being at Memphis Golden State last night. You must be beat up.
Almost missed my flight, too. That was because trying to get out of the game and then the traffic around the arena. There's a point, my flight left at 11:35. I want to say at 11:08, I was still on the freeway. And I actually was like, I don't think I'm going to catch it. I'm going to try to figure out some other plans. And then we got there, and I said to the Uber driver, I said, there's no one in security. I've got a chance. And sure enough, there was no one in the line, no one in the thing. They didn't stop me. My stuff was green.
Wait a minute. You made it from curbside to your plane in in 15 minutes?
Yeah, I was at 11:08. I was on whatever that freeway is leading into the airport.
The busy one. Yeah.
Yeah.
No check bags, though, right?
No check bags.
Right.
I'm
No
just
check
picturing
bags.
your
Yes.
indifferent Uber driver, just like, I don't care, man.
No, this guy was
Right.
he was talking to me the whole time. Like he's like telling me about man at Niners games. The first time they had an event at the Niners game, it took 2 hours to get out of there. He said after that they figured it all out.
Right.
They said Chase still haven't figured it out.
I love a confident Uber driver. I do. Like, don't worry about it. We got this.
I feel like they're all confident.
Yeah. No. They all have a story, I'll tell you that much.
This guy had stories out the wazoo, just talking about all the traffic patterns out of different venues, out of Oracle Park, where the Giants play. He said, it's all right. He said, Niners, they've got it the best. They have it down to a system. 70,000 people can leave at the same time, and you're out of there in 15 minutes. Chase still has work to do.
You know when you know your Uber driver knows what he's doing? It's when he's at a traffic light, and he's, like, looking ahead in traffic. He's, like, scanning on the map.
Yes.
He's like, what other routes can we take here?
He's planning.
He's not following Waze.
Right.
He's like, I know these streets.
He knows the shortcuts.
I don't understand. You said you told the Uber driver there's no one in security, you're going to be good. Were you, like, texting him when you were already in the airport?
Made it.
Yeah, actually, it's when I tipped
You're
him.
friends now?
Send the
yeah,
tip
man.
with a little note. Hey,
The guy
by the way,
helped him
made it.
out. I mean,
The guys, he came
Right.
in clutch, man. Look,
got him there.
He had the shortcuts. He knew when there was a road that was about, because they close off roads around the arena. He said, this one's about to open up. And everyone else was kind of like jostling for the other turn, and he just hit that turn as soon as they lifted the barricade. The guy saved my life.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you ever get from the curb to a plane that is in flight within 20 minutes?
all the time. No check bags, Dan.
It's the thing that I am worried about there is the fact that they closed the doors early and the extra 10 minutes. Like, he did not have enough time to make that flight. That is not enough time.
Hey, he made it. I mean-
well, but were you running?
Of course, I was like OJ.
And did you make it? Like, were
Jumped
they
over a chair?
were they closing the door?
Dan, they don't close the door for me.
That can't be true.
They don't.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you feel like all Uber drivers are confident? And what did you say? Oh, and do all Uber drivers have stories out the wazoo?
Oh, yeah. It's always their second job.
I feel like the door closing of an airplane is not as dramatic as they make it seem in movies. Like in Home Alone, there's like that scene where the door is shutting.
I've had it closed on my face.
Really?
In fact, I've only missed one flight in my life because it was closed in my face.
You said I'm Dan Le Batard, no?
I did not. It didn't do any good.
You should
it wouldn't have done any
I've done
good.
it. I mean,
Zaslow has a big problem that I want to get to, but I want to get to the game last night because, my God, they needed all of Jimmy Butler to be all the Jimmy Butler things to get past a team we know wasn't going to win the championship. That team of 30-year-old people are going to have to do it an awful lot against teams a lot better than Memphis. But they got the one they needed last night to improve their seeding. How much fun was that for you? Because Golden State is going to be one of the primary storylines until they're eliminated.
I mean, it was a really fun game for a bunch of reasons. First of all, the clash of styles. Memphis is big. They were attacking the glass. Golden State small and kind of crafty. They start the game up big because they're just playing smarter than Memphis. And then when you get to the second half, Memphis starts to figure it out a little bit and slow things down. And particularly Curry, the crazy thing was, for about 85% of the night, I said, Curry's not having a good night. Yeah. Curry's not having a good night. And then it's just like, boom, boom, boom. And I look up, he's got 37.
No, but that's why they got Jimmy. The difference in that game is Jimmy and Steph get free throws, and Ja didn't.
Well, yeah, Ja got hurt. But
Right.
but I think Jimmy got free throws. Jimmy
Steph was 11-11.
I know, but hold on. Jimmy manufactured free throws, meaning we're trying to guard you. You're going to foul me because you can't guard me. Steph was the beneficiary of Jimmy's fouls because now someone getting aggressive like Scottie Pippen Jr. trying to pick up 90 feet fouls Steph 45 feet away from the basket. He's shooting free throws. He shot a lot of free throws simply based on the fact that they're in the penalty, and they're in the penalty because Jimmy Butler. So it's one of those things. It wasn't that Steph got to the free throw line as much as Jimmy got to the free throw line and Steph was the beneficiary.
My larger point is that the Golden State Warriors have never had the player that gets to the free throw line. Clay and Steph have been great at making their free throws, but Jimmy Butler will go stop the game by just pump faking a couple of times, and next thing you know, yes, Ja got hurt, but if you're going to win a game like that, Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry knock out Ja Morant, it can't be between those players that two of them on Golden State have 30 free throws and Memphis's has 3.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a clash of styles. I felt, I know people are going to disagree with me here, I felt Memphis messed up with a lot of Zach Edey, even though he had a lot of rebounds and was...
He was always guarding Jimmy.
It was insane. We were
How
sitting
did that
there,
happen every time?
Zaz, we're sitting there on media row and said, "Oh, this is their plan." and then of course they have the 5-second count late, and everyone says, "How does that happen?" I said, "I'll tell you how it happens. You fired your coach with 2 weeks to go. You got a new coach." I'm not putting it on their new coach.
It seems like you are. I mean,
No, quite the opposite. I'm putting it on management because you give a guy 2 weeks to have to come up with stuff like it.
I don't need 2 weeks to know that Edie should
Right.
be going Butler. I know
Yeah,
that.
That's a good point.
It's on the coach.
That's a great point.
I mean, that's on the coach.
but also,
Thank you, Zach.
Also,
Jesus.
that's how he got the job.
Blaming management.
That's how he got the job, right? Because management was saying that Taylor Jenkins, you're not playing Edie enough. This is a guy that we put all our eggs in this basket. You got to play him more. So it's like it's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Oh, but this one's hugely interesting at the intersection of all the things changing in that sport. Is Gobert going to be able to play now or not? Is Edie going to be able to play this time of year or not?
Dan, it is incredibly disrespectful to compare those two. I would infinitely go into 100 million series with Rudy Gobert as my center playing 40-plus minutes before I have Edie out there.
But Dan's asking, will you win any of those series? I mean,
I'll win more than I win with Edie.
Wait, no, I'm not asking that. I'm asking and have been asking since he was drafted. Hey, that can't play in the league anymore.
I'll say this. I think he's better than what I thought he would be as far as physically, but last night was a great example of like, dude, this ain't the stage for him. And it's not because he's a rookie. It's because he's physically incapable of even pretending to guard anyone out there. At least Rudy Gobert has decent, for his size, lateral movement, great length. Yeah, and no, I mean, like, beyond all that. Like,
They're hunting him at the end of the game.
But this wasn't even a hunting at the end of the game. It was hunting at all times.
Mm-hmm.
He was lost. There was one play where it was literally someone, I think it was Podziemski, cuts back door, and he has to turn his whole body around to see what happened. And then he turns around, the ball gets to Jimmy, and he's like, "Oh, I got to close out to Jimmy." And it's like, you're dead in the water, kid.
I mean, that game wouldn't have been close if the Warriors lost and they had to play the winner of tonight's game, Sacramento-Dallas, on Friday. Like, that game wouldn't have been close, but how much fun would that have been if it's an elimination game for the Warriors and it's not even the playoffs? That's where I was rooting for Memphis to win last night just so we could have that chaos on Friday.
Zaz, Dan just called them a team of 30-year-olds. He's absolutely right. That was an elimination game for them because they were like, there's no way we can play until Friday in this play-in, and then Sunday turn around and play game one against Oklahoma City.
Right.
Sunday was actually last Sunday against the Clippers. That was their Valhalla. They messed up. So they knew on last night, there's no chance we can let this thing extend anymore. We need the 4 days of rest.
They wouldn't win a single game against Oklahoma City. I don't think.
Well, I want to do this. I want to do this with you guys because I believe there are at least a couple of teams in the West that have some of the ingredients that you would need to surprise an Oklahoma City team that I don't believe anybody in the West is nearly as good as. But the ingredients that you would have to have, I would say that Golden State has them, and I would say, this is what I'm rooting for, that the Clippers have it. Because
You're big on the Clippers, man.
I'll tell you why I'm rooting for the Clippers, beyond thinking they're exceptional. The reason I'm rooting for the Clippers is if that team wins the championship, we're going to have a hell of a confusing time figuring out where and how to put James Harden and Kawhi Leonard in history's players because they've got a because James Harden has one championship and Kawhi Leonard has multiple championships.
3 on 3 different teams?
And then I would ask you the next question on that, why I'm rooting for this. If the Clippers win the championship, this is the question I've been wanting to ask Amin. If the Clippers win the championship, did they get the better of the trade with Oklahoma City, given that they erased laughingstock Clippers from the resume forever? Remember what the history of that team is, Amin. Remember what the history of that team is.
Absolutely not. Let me answer that one right now. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But to the point about the Clippers, first of all, Dan, you'll be delighted to know this. I had an NBA player tell me about a week ago, Clippers are going to the finals. And I said, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. And he said, watch. Because he said, as long as Kawhi is healthy and playing, the way they defend, there's no way they're going to lose to anybody.
But are
in the
you
West.
saying out of your mind because they're not good enough, or out of your mind because Kawhi hasn't finished a playoff series in 1,000 years?
No. The caveat was if Kawhi's healthy. I'm saying out of your mind because Stugotz has been amazing at center, right? They start Zubats and pretty much 4 guards: Kawhi, Harden, Norm Powell, and Chris Dunn. Right? Who's their backup center? Can you name them?
No.
Can anyone in the room name
No.
them? You got 2 options. One is Ben Simmons,
It's a good option.
and that's the better option.
I mean,
The other one is Drew Eubanks.
I feel like Amin he really cornered us on that one. We all just had to be ignorant in his
Backup
face.
Proud of that
centers.
knowledge.
Yeah, he's upset because he's in the other room and he now wants to embarrass the people in this one.
This is crazy because, yes, Dan, if they defend and Kawhi's healthy and all this stuff is great. And then I thought, wait, they're playing Denver in the first round. 2 quick fouls on Zubats in the first quarter. You're done. You're done because now what are you're playing Ben Simmons?
That's a good weakness to point out, but I do think you're kind of skipping over what Zubats has been because for those who do not know what is happening with the Clippers both offensively and defensively, because yes, you've seen Kawhi's resume, you've seen James Harden's resume. That's not why the Clippers are championship worthy this year.
It's Zubac.
It's the third guy.
Look, I've looked at all those sports books, and they all have Cade Cunningham as the front runner for most improved player, which is preposterous.
Number 1 overall pick.
Zaz, not only number 1 overall pick, he hasn't even disappointed. He's been great the entire time. He's been hurt, but when he's healthy, he's great. So what part of him has improved? And that's not a disrespect to him. He's a great player, but he's doing exactly what everyone thought he would be.
Yeah.
Whereas Zubats is, 6-7 years into his career and showing us things that we hadn't seen before. Dan, you're right. He's excellent defensively and offensively. He has been incredible for them. But you got to play against Jokic in the first round. 2 quick fouls in the first quarter. It's done.
Oh, that's the thing. They can get eliminated in the first round. I'm in a position for Stugotz to laugh at me if they lose in 5 games, or Kawhi gets hurt, or any. They're a fragile
not
thing.
just me, by the way. Everyone laughing at you.
But I'm telling you why I'm rooting for it, because it's going to be real confusing in your personal record book to do whatever it is that you're going to do. James Harden, you're going to get a part 2 on James Harden because
Dollar signs going off now.
Make sure Stanzik is listening.
But what are you going to do if the championship is won by James Harden drilling a bunch of important buzzer beaters because they've got 2 other guys out there that make you not worry about James Harden?
I'm going to be shocked.
So all the way back in the summertime when Paul George left and went to Philadelphia, I said Philadelphia and the Clippers have 2 starkly different gambling strategies, right? The Clippers strategy is, hey, our main guy, Kawhi Leonard, is a guy who's hurt a lot, right? And is kind of inconsistent showing up during the regular season because of the injuries, right? So what we need to do is hedge our bet with someone who's there all the time. Say what you will about James Harden. The guy plays 80-plus games, and he plays 30-plus minutes. He never gets hurt, and he can carry you through those middle innings, not only of games, but entire seasons, right? Get to the playoffs. Are there questions? Yes, but then the idea is, then Kawhi's healthy, and he can carry us from there. Meanwhile, the Sixers were like, hey, our main guy also gets hurt a lot in Joel Embiid, but rather than hedge, I'm going to run a parlay. Give me another guy who gets hurt a lot in Paul George. Pair them together. And if they're healthy at the same time, we're going to be incredible. And if they're not, we're going to have the 6th worst record in the NBA.
I think we buried the big story here. Ben Simmons is a Clipper?
Yes, he had some options. He had some options after he was bought out, and he chose the Clippers. He didn't have to choose the Clippers. There were reasons. I assume that it's real estate and location based. I don't know if he thinks or thought that they could surprise some people. But what do you think of my contentions as that if the Clippers won the championship, they would be the single most surprising champion in the history of the league?
Woo! I mean, Toronto winning in 2019 is up there for me. Toronto championship. What are we talking about here? Clippers.
04 Pistons.
Yeah, but they were so dominant in the regular season. But that's a good one. Starless Piston team, and because I just kicked the crap out of the Lakers, so that's a really good one. Clippers would be huge. Clippers would be huge, especially because Kawhi, he hasn't finished a playoff series in forever, and now you want him to go. Think about it. He hasn't finished a playoff series in forever. Now you want him to win 4 playoff series, not cumulative over his career. No. in one postseason.
He's done it twice,
I saw him do it once. I saw him do it as the primary piece once, and I saw him do it with LeBron looking over his shoulder, waiting for him to come off the bench and being scared at 25 the first time.
You're doing a weird thing. Tony and I are laughing because it seems like what you're rooting for is a Clippers-Pacers NBA
You're a
Finals.
big Pacers guy too, Dan. You love Hallie.
Oh, I'd like to see Clippers-Celtics.
Ty Lue's revenge. The most surprising one, and this is everyone get out your
Lakers Celtics.
Your sepia tone stuff and everything. It's the 1975 Warriors, because this was a team that everyone thought was going to finish the worst in the
I
conference.
was just going to say that.
And in fact, they were trying to move, and so they gave Al Attles like, hey, you can have whoever you want because we don't think your team is going to be any good. We're going to move out of the area. We're going to move to a new look. I think they were going to try and go to San Diego or somewhere like that. And what ended up happening was Al Attles was like, all right, fine, I get to pick my players. He picked a bunch of black players because at that point, everyone talks about, oh, no, the league was integrated, but it was integrated for excellence. It's like, oh, yeah, black people can be president if you're like Barack Obama, who's like checks every single elite box. But if you were a run-of-the-mill kind of guy, it was really hard to get playing time or even a roster spot. So Al Attles stacked the decks with the blackest team to date in NBA history. And what ended up happening is they won 48 games. They had a whole lot of tension during the year because of a bunch of guys weren't exactly all on the same page. When they got to the finals, everyone was like, this is a nice Cinderella run, but now you guys are going to play the Bullets and get your heads bashed in, and then end up sweeping them. It's a 48-win team. I believe it's the lowest number of wins to win an NBA title. I think that is the biggest upset in NBA history. Another big surprise. I don't know if you guys feel this way or not.
I do have to stop you just for a second. We'll get to the second biggest
He's
surprise.
rolling.
But I just want to clearly understand what he said because the information is good. You surprised even radio legend.
No, he knew.
No, Zaslow.
He was going to say it.
He said he was going to say it.
Yeah.
I feel like he might have been lying.
What?
I came here today hoping for the history of the 75 Clippers.
Yeah. Rick Barry.
It's Warriors.
Warriors.
That's a fine.
Well,
so
it's a fine.
so you know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to have to do this for the first time to Zaslow.
What?
I regret
He was
doing
so close
this.
to it.
Yes,
Oh,
but
man.
I need to find it here. I need to find out where it is. Here. No, that's not it.
You're celebrating him?
No, no, that's not what I meant to do. No, that's the wrong thing. I'm sorry. No, here it is. I found it.
dropped a dookie.
I found it. Yes, thank you.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for lying.
I just want to better understand what Amin was saying there because I think the audience received it the same way I did. How can you say with a straight face to us that the most surprising team in NBA history is the blackest team in NBA history? You can't say that.
I mean, it's something Mad Dog would say.
You cannot say that publicly.
Emphasis on history.
Yeah.
You can't say that the most surprising team in NBA, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you say the most surprising team in NBA history is the blackest team in NBA history? That can't be a surprise.
They had Rick Barry. I mean,
Hey. Ballin'.
The 1975 Clippers did.
they did, yeah.
Warriors,
Warriors,
that's a fine.
Warriors.
I did that on purpose.
So did I.
That's convenient. He's looking at me.
We have something I want to get to here with Zaz because I heard him and Stugotz negotiating, and I think Stugotz is going to try to help Zaz with something that he may or may not help him with. It's going to be hard to help Zaz with something that he needs help with. But I did want to tell you guys here that at some point today, I need you guys to remind me to apologize for what was one of the most embarrassing mistakes of my career this week. And it sort of escaped some notice, but I want to put it out in front of everybody so that everyone can see it and I can apologize for legitimately, I'm not making this up, one of the most embarrassing things that I've ever done that some of you may or may not have noticed that I have to get out in front of people and take the flogging on. Before I do that, though, Dan Dockich is really mad at me.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Blast from the past.
I mean, he's just mad.
Well, I don't know what he's mad about, though.
Is he mad because he saw in Kristaps Porzingis' eyes that he would never be good? Remember that one?
Yeah.
can see it in his eyes.
Yep.
He also doesn't think that Eric Spoelstra is a good coach.
What?
Yeah.
Classic Doc.
He's just a guy, I believe is what he called
Just
him.
the guy.
So, but when I say I don't know why Dan Dakich is mad, I have that partially wrong. I could actually be lying in that circumstance because he's mad because there are people other than white people in the world. That's why he's mad.
Right.
But when he's mad in this clip, I don't know what he's mad about. I legitimately have not heard anything in this clip except that he's doing the best thing that you can do at the front of this clip. Sports Radio 101, he's got it mastered. You have to start what you're saying this way.
Fat Dan Le Batard, I said Indiana basketball. Never said a word about Florida. Don't care about Florida. Care about Florida on the field. But Fat Dan Le Batard did what Fat Dan Le Batard did. He got a sausage stuck in his mouth. Now, see, Indiana, and this is something Fat Dan Le Batard can't understand. See, Fat Dan never played. Fat Dan has sat. Fat Dan likes the buffet. Fat Dan is actually the poster child for now, the crumb-stained media guy. He can't even get my criticisms right. I don't care about Florida. What do I care about Florida? Care about Indiana. From 1993 back to 1970, 23 years, Indiana went undefeated twice, won 3 national championships, went to the Elite Eight 6 times. Once Bob Knight was done and they decided they're going another way in basketball, it hasn't worked. That's my point. My point has nothing to do with Florida. Get the sausage out of your mouth. Dan Le Batard, pay attention here. If you're going to quote me well from whatever venue you are doing it or from whatever freaking media company you are doing it. Stay in your lane, Dan.
What did you say about Indiana basketball?
What did you say?
He does make some compelling points.
He's right. I mean, facts. You never played. You love buffets.
Crumb stained.
Yeah. Fat. I mean,
Sausage.
Stugotz is being made happy here by Zaslow's presence. I see he's really unloading the cannon from over there and then turning away with a flinch from me.
See, Fat Dan never.
You never played the game, Dan.
you didn't.
Crumb stains. The crumbs don't usually stain.
Sausage. I think what he is talking about, I said at one point with that TikTok video that Florida was dancing around to, I thought that Dakich made some sort of point that you can't win a championship doing TikTok videos, which is, to be fair to me, something Dakich would say.
Checks out.
And so
In fairness to Dakich, right?
But I didn't say it about the right team because evidently, I don't know whether to believe him or not. He didn't say that about Florida, and I quoted him wrong. So I got the team wrong. You know what? Dan Dakich, everything you said is right.
Wow.
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 I got the team wrong.
Yeah. What?
But everything I said about you not liking anyone who's not white is also right.
Interesting.
So we're even.
Huh. Embarrassing moment.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Oh, we haven't
I was
got
just
there yet.
reminding you. That's all.
No, that's not the embarrassing moment.
No, I know. I was reminding you.
Please
That's all.
do. Please keep in.
I
Please
wrote
keep
it down right here.
What were you and Zaz negotiating about? Because
Well, we're not negotiating. Zaslow is struggling. Pearl Jam is coming into town next week. It's
This is
Zaslow's favorite
very
band.
upsetting for me.
It's like me and Dead and Company, and Zaslow, who is I believe is a member of the 10 Club.
Of course you believe. Of course I am.
And he can't get tickets, so he's asking me to try to help him out.
Dan, this has taken over my life. They're here next week. They never come to Florida. They're playing 2 shows 10 minutes from my house.
Small venue, too.
Next Thursday and next Saturday. I mean, how could there be a world where Pearl Jam is playing 10 minutes from my house and I'm sitting at home not at the show? But I got shut out from the fan club tickets. I got shut out from the on sale at Ticketmaster. There's literally like 10 seats available on Ticketmaster right now. They're $1,000 each, and they're all the way up in the rafters. I lay awake. I didn't sleep last night. Honest to God, I lay awake at night thinking, how am I going to get tickets? It's ruling my life.
Game time.
I need to move on.
Game time definitely has the best deal.
No, you see, that's the thing. They don't know.
No, they
don't
do.
say no. Wait a minute.
Don't
Whoa! Wait a minute.
5-minute major.
Okay.
Minor penalty.
Game
2
time
minutes.
is great, but not for this.
Out.
5-minute major.
Out. Great time. Game time is great for everything.
Go find those tickets to Pearl Jam at game time.
Out.
I'll find them right now.
More like
Out.
great time.
Promo code Dan.
Are you kidding me? This ESPN shit's going to your head so much that we say game time, you say the word no afterward?
Yeah.
I know someone who's never disparaged the sponsors. Sitting in this room right here.
That's unbelievable what he just did. What are you promising him, Stugotz?
I'm not promising him anything. I promised him that I would make a phone call and see if I could help him out. I don't like being the ticket guy. There is a lot of pressure. I just got Mike Ryan tickets to see Dead & Company at the Sphere. And Mike is the most annoying kind of person to get tickets for because he wants all the details. Like, hey, I got you the tickets. Go pick them up at will call and leave me the hell alone. And so now I have this added pressure from Zaslow to get him tickets for Pearl Jam. I'm on the Game Time app right now, and I see plenty of great
there's
seats
so
available
many.
right
Yeah,
now
I'm
for
looking
Pearl Jam.
too.
Yeah.
The best.
Game time is the best. We all know this. Zaz is the worst. We've all known this for 20 years around here. If you've ever been in this market, he does things like that. He's a rebel. This is how he climbs at ESPN, who continues to feed all of these gas bags like Zaslow and give them more and more power, even though they have no respect for anything.
Speaking of feeding, if you're hungry, Jimmy John's. Great sandwiches. Really quick. Great delivery, too.
Oh, man.
And they're toasted, yeah.
We have the best sponsors. They keep this whole thing afloat so that we can do this every day.
2 tickets on Game Time right now, $4.17.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
You get 2 tickets, and then what you do, you get an Uber, you pregame, a little Cuervo, maybe a little Smirnoff.
Boom.
You're in business.
I want to get to the embarrassing thing, and I want to talk a little more about this Pearl Jam thing because I, too, am very excited that they're going to be this close.
2 tickets, you go with a friend, maybe you split the tab, maybe you Venmo them.
Did you get tickets? I mean,
Well, we'll talk about this a little bit with Zaslow because I do have an unbelievable ticket guy. Unbelievable.
right.
In that I have, and this has only been happening over, I would say, the last 3 or 4 years, where the hardest stuff, the Taylor Swift stuff, and anything on a moment's notice, I just can't believe that this thing exists.
Right.
But
I think I have the same guy.
Do a couple of shots of Jägermeister, make sure they're ice cold, though. Yeah. And then maybe you throw in, hey, what about this? What about when you get there, you don't want to keep drinking liquor because you've had enough liquor? Switch to Miller Lite.
So I want to get to this with Zaslow, but please do not let me forget at any moment to remind. I'll do it within the next hour here.
Okay.
That I owe an apology to somebody publicly for something that I did on this show.
Okay. So are you getting Zaslow tickets? Like, what are we?
Well,
really?
Well,
Getting
no,
me off the hook here, or-
no. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you. I make the ask very infrequently. Like Stugotz hasn't learned this lesson. I've been trying to teach it to him for years.
Keep asking, Dano.
Yeah, well, but okay. So you do that way, and you keep asking, and you often get your tickets. I ask people of power very, very, very infrequently for anything, and I maintain my relationships with those people in power because of how infrequently I ask for things. Stugotz is not built like that.
No.
And he sometimes gets tickets too. I wouldn't mind having a competition with Stugotz about whose ticket guy is better. Trying to
competition.
We
get.
might have the same ticket guy. though.
Well, I doubt. Well, maybe.
Might.
I am pretty confident. Well, if we have the same ticket guy, let's do it this way. I think I can say with 100% certainty as we sit here that I will get Zaslow a
What?
ticket. No.
Okay.
Wait, you know what? I can, but I might not. I can, but I might not.
That's not 100%.
No.
Don't you care about me? It's a source of extreme stress in my life right now.
A lot of
You should
people
take Zaslow.
A lot of people would want the tickets.
I get what you're trying to say, Dan.
He would, but he.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Exactly that is what I'm trying to say. I'm not promising Zaslow that I could correct this problem for him. I am telling the audience as a way of executing this competition with you about who has the
How
better.
did it become a competition?
It's a good competition. I like this.
Is it? Well, because we're all working for you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, that's the deal that you've got around here, Stugotz.
I'm the one trying to get him tickets right now, and the only one.
But can you get them?
I don't know. I told him I don't know.
Then we don't have the same ticket guy.
How about
I
this?
didn't go to that ticket guy. I didn't
But
go to. I don't know if I want to waste an ask on Zaslow.
No, you should waste an ass. How about this, though? You get for one night, and you get for the other night.
No, I can get tickets. I know I can get tickets for me.
Yes. And me.
Well, but I don't make excessive asks of the people in power. I would do what Stugotz is doing here, where there's a line where I would ask for me. It would have to be hugely important. And now if I'm asking pluses, +1, +2, +3,
Yes.
I'm going to do a wedding guest list of who's willing to be the best man type of list.
Sure, but this is important. Did you already ask for tickets for this and a +1?
Oh, I have tickets.
You have to for both nights?
Yes.
Okay. So you already made the ask, and now you have to make additional asks.
That's
here,
right.
Right. Wow.
That's correct.
It's easier. The add-on ask is easier than just a different ask.
Yeah, but Dan doesn't want Zaslow sitting next to him and his wife.
yeah,
I'm the best person to sit with at a Pearl Jam show. The best.
He's the guy, as soon as the music starts, he calls out what song it is. Oh, that's this song.
Yeah.
It's playing right here.
Alive.
They haven't played this since 1999.
Dan, you
seems
don't
like-
know.
that
You don't know
seems
how
like a-
rare this song is.
That seems like a good person to go to the
I'm the
concert
best
with.
person to go. Haven't opened with Ocean since 2003.
You were there for that, right?
Wow, they started out the show with back-to-back off of 10. This is an incredible show. Buckle up, Dan.
I could
No
get
one wants to buckle up
I
at a
could get a
concert.
sports radio show right next to me that's just all Pearl Jam. It's Channel 23 on Sirius XM? Just all Pearl Jam.
Yep. Grateful Dead is 24. It's my channel.
This is exciting, but also very stressful because it feels like you can help me out, and then I could start sleeping again. I don't lay awake at night checking online for tickets to become available.
Well, let's see, though, what it is that we can execute here, though, because do you believe that Stugotz will actually try for you, or as soon as he leaves
Okay,
here,
true
he will
story.
stop
The
thinking
Dead are
about it?
23,
True
by the way.
story.
That's a fine.
True story. Stugotz got me tickets one time for Pearl Jam. This is like 15 years ago. He did, okay? I was going to get seats. They have to be decent enough seats, and it's a very big deal for me, okay? You can't tell me you're going to – it's all taken care of. And then, like, last minute in typical Stugotz fashion, like, I'm sorry, I couldn't come through. I told him, I said, you have to understand – our friendship is on the line here.
Yep.
If I'm trusting you to get the tickets, you're
Right.
telling me don't worry, and then you don't come through, I don't ever talk to you again.
Right.
Like, our friendship is over. That's how serious this is.
Right.
He did come through.
I
He
did. I did.
He
Right.
did.
So it's your turn.
So you're not going to try anymore?
I did try.
But
I
I'm
put
saying
a call in.
No, but this – I mean,
I didn't go to the guy yet, but I mean.
I'd like you to. I'm a very nice boy.
You went to your
I'd like
B guy?
You, to try.
You went to your B guy?
Well, the B guy's the A guy
I don't understand.
in this scenario. I
Meaning
went.
he has someone that he refuses to go to. He's going to go to the other guy first.
Right.
I don't understand what the B guy is and what the A guy is.
The A guy is the guy who can get it done. The B
Right.
guy is the guy that you go to more frequently.
He doesn't want to use that ask on
So
me.
I went to the B guy first. If I need to go to the A guy,
When will
We'll see.
When will the B guy answer? Will he answer
Today.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Before
come on. Can
before
we
the
do
end
this
of
already?
before the end of the show. will
I'm
he
not
answer?
certain if he'll answer before the end of the show. I will pepper him a little bit. Maybe around 10:30, an hour from now, but I can't guarantee anything.
I mean, come on. You don't want to go with me? Ed comes out. They do a third encore. Wow, they haven't done 3 encores in 20 years.
Yeah.
While you guys wait, you can fire something up on Peacock maybe. Yeah, watch that. Pass the time. Maybe Bel Air. I hear that's pretty good.
Nice to know Dan has a guy, though. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket for a rainy day.
I'm not likely to ask on your behalf.
You're way down.
I'll
on the
tell
guest
you-
list,
I'll
man.
tell-
It's just in my back pocket. Dan, it's for my daughter. She really wants to go.
Well, here when
I wish I knew that during Taylor Swift
The
time.
daughter.
when Stugotz says there's a lot of pressure in being
Thank you.
the ticket guy
Yeah.
because he is right. Everyone I know believes I can get any ticket to sports there is.
People think that about me, so I can just imagine
in,
for you.
in the world,
You got 2 for the Super Bowl?
everybody I know thinks that there is not that I'm game time, that I can get any ticket.
Dan, World Cup final next
Which
year.
I
you got
can
me?
at game
time.
time. At game time, I can.
Who's the most shameless person that asks you the most that you never ask for?
Well,
I've never asked him, so.
that's not true.
I've never asked you
any
for
way.
tickets.
I'm going to guess that whoever is your prime ticket guy is only your prime ticket guy because I got you tickets through that prime ticket guy who's my B guy.
That's your
Wow!
Dan is
Wait. My A guy is your B guy?
I'm going to guess.
The guy that
I
got me
don't-
tickets to Springsteen on Broadway?
You know your B guy, I think, can get tickets because I presented you with that ability because you needed tickets for something. So I not only not have taken your request, I gave you, I think, the guy. There's no way that you would be able, before me, through this guy, to get those tickets. No way. Not what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Look, am I going to Pearl Jam or not?
Two Americas, am I right, Roy?
Yep.
We don't know, Seth.
We are bragging about A guys and B guys, but nobody's gotten him a ticket.
I'm trying.
I need to start sleeping again.
You
okay?
trying? What have you
That's
done
the
so
thing.
far?
This is when he says I'm trying. There's
What's Dan
nothing.
done?
There's
I mean-
nothing.
Yeah, where's the try? Show me the try.
Showing that this is why I don't like getting tickets. I just got Mike Ryan 4 tickets, Dead and Company's Fear, this Thursday night. I have to show
Nothing
proof that
to
I'm
do
trying.
with me.
No, Mike just trusted me.
Now he spins it where it's like, no, now I'm not going to get you shit because now you're acting ungrateful for what I'm doing. You ain't great.
Thank you, Tom.
DraftKings Sportsbook.
Has changed. Weed is legal now with Stugotz and Greg Cody.
I'll tell a story if it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
When I first took the first edible I ever took was in New York, and at the time I was breaking the law. Okay, so now you can feel good about telling your story. And the guy told me, "Hey, just eat half of this." And so I ate half, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I didn't feel anything. And he begged me just to eat half. And he did say on the front end it might take a while. But I was impatient.
Right.
Because when you smoke marijuana, you get instant gratification. And waiting an hour or two for something to kick in was not something I was familiar with.
Right.
So I ate another half, which became a full cookie. And 60 minutes later, I don't remember anything. I woke up the next morning on the floor in my wife's uncle's apartment because Abby had to throw me into a cab with her, and she took me home. And I was curled up in the fetal position, and I don't remember a thing after the second half of that cookie.
Wow.
This was last Wednesday. So, with that being said, feel free to share your story of you having 4 cookies in Colorado.
Yeah, I wolfed them down. It was 3 or 4. I didn't know
3
how.
or 4?
Yeah,
You don't ask?
Down.
You don't
Well-
say, hey, person I'm purchasing this from, how fast should I do these?
The guy at the thing, and it was one of those official things where they dress like pharmacists in there, and they sold me a vial of edible cookies, and it was in Colorado, so it's 100% legal. And my wife and I are getting ready to go to dinner. We popped open the thing. She had a nibble of one, and I ate, I think, probably 2 or 3, and it hit me by the time we got to that restaurant.
I just love how terrified you are of this conversation. You keep throwing in there like it's perfectly legal what I did.
To be fair to Greg, this has not exactly been, the most up and up thing to talk about for 60 years of his life.
Right, exactly.
This is a fairly recent phenomenon. We just go, oh yeah, everything's fine now.
No, and I don't, we did that because we were vacationing in Colorado, and I wanted to
Stop giving qualifiers.
I have to give a qualifier.
Greg, more qualifiers.
It feels better when you're doing it legally. It
right,
does.
I'm gonna.
understand.
I don't smoke anymore. I mean, I don't do that. I did in
Totally
college.
lying, trying to make them feel better. I mean,
Thank you. Thanks for that.
getting away with it was much more fun. I mean, seriously.
I had my day doing that. So
We used to get dime bags at a place in Hillside, Queens. It was called the Tie Door. Oh, was it fantastic? You never saw the guy. You just saw his hand. You would see his
Like
hand.
a first touch in a marriage?
Yeah, you would open up this little sliding door in Hillside, Queens. You would see his hand. He would see your hand. You'd never see each other. He'd put weed in your hand. You would put money in his hand, and that was it. That was a transaction. It was great. Called the
And
tie
about
door.
Weed first, then money?
Money first.
Oh, there
Well,
you go.
it was like you would do it at the same time, but occasionally.
So you'd see both hands.
Yes, correct.
Once every 6 months, you'd hear stories of like some guy sticking his hand and then like, getting arrested on the spot. The cuffs right on the wrist. That's all you see, the wrist, and then
I always wondered, is today going to be the day? Because I went every day. And it wasn't far from my house. But is today the day that it's going to be a cop on the other side of that door? I did. I feared that every single day. But it didn't stop me from going out there every single day. Hop, skip, and a jump.
Is that fear worth it?
Yes. The fear is what made it. Greg's right. Now you walk in, they're dressed like they're experts,
Right.
pharmacists.
Yeah.
It made me a little nervous. More nervous than meeting a guy at a tie door, never seeing him, just exchanging things in our hands.
That's right.
What happened to you after you eat 3 or 4?
Are you tired of waiting on those 3 dots every time you text?
Hello, Casanova the Ghetto speaking. Hello? Still there?
Only to get ghosted when you're just trying to reach out? Well, we've got a man who loves a long phone call.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Not only that, he hobnobs with celebrities.
Not now, LeBron.
But he's always got time for you.
Yes, Sirski. Hello? What do you need, my friend? My friend? What do you need, my friend? Hot gossip. Do you want to talk life? Do you need some advice? You want to talk basketball? Relationship advice? Say it with your chest, or get it off of your chest.
You can get all that. All you need to do is call Juju now. Call Juju now at 650-585-8669, which spells Juju now. 650. Juju now. If you're in New Hampshire, call Juju now. In Minneapolis, call Juju now. On a plane, call Juju now. 650 Juju now. That's the number. Call now.
Call with your questions. Call with your takes. You want to phone a friend? Well, guess what? I can be that friend. Hello? Hello? What are you waiting for, man? What are you waiting for, woman? What are you waiting for, family dog? Call right now.
I am very excited right now.
Wow.
And the audience is about to be very excited as well. Before we unveil this exciting thing, I would say one of the most exciting things that ever happens around here. I will tell you a story I have not told before, which is in negotiations with ESPN, when we were wrestling them over who gets to own what sounds, ESPN won only one time. We got the entire rest of our library, but there was only one sound they wouldn't let us have.
You won all the sounds. Is what you're saying.
We won.
Okay.
Sound
we,
champion.
We won all the sounds in negotiations, but the sound that ESPN wanted to keep that we could not have, we have just had to pay a lot of money to play for you now because they have the rights to the sound. It's been a nightmare trying to get a music sound to pay for rights to things.
That's valuable, man.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
they kept it. They're building their entire network around it. That's why they wouldn't give it to us. Tim Kurkjian on loan right now, only because Mike McQuaid's in charge now, God bless him.
I would say Tim Kurkjian is probably at the top gold medalist in terms of guests that our fans love the most. I would say it's Kurkjian, Stan Van Gundy, and Ron McGill. I mean, this is an exciting day, Dan. We're talking baseball with Timmy Kurkjian.
So we'll put him immediately in an awkward spot by asking him, does Buster Olney look like the... I haven't even started yet.
I know, but Buster grew up on a farm, and he was telling me about milking cows the other day. Every time I think about that, I have to laugh.
Because you're imagining him doing it in his suit?
No, because we got in a discussion about milking a cow, and I told him I'd milked one cow in my entire life. It was a disaster at Ferguson Farm when my daughter was in the 5th grade. And I said he, meaning the cow, was not interested in giving up a lot of milk. To which Buster started to scream at me. Guy who grew up on a dairy farm. I didn't even know that it was only the females that give milk. Did you guys know that?
I didn't. Of course we did, Timmy.
Male cows are bulls.
Duh.
You were the cow at a moment.
I didn't know that.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did you know that it was only the female cows who give milk? I'd like to hear more here, but Buster Olney looks like the...
He's thinking about the cow. I mean.
I was just thinking about Jeff Van Gundy, too. God, he's so funny.
Queen of Hearts.
Jeff Van Gundy. What was the first one I ever heard? Jeff Van Gundy looks like
the Queen of Hearts.
Queen of Hearts.
Wait, the medical examiner who does an autopsy while eating a ham sandwich.
He remembers.
Yeah, well, he remembers a lot of them. People walk up and him.
Wasn't he in the Colt commercial too? We had one of those, I think.
He gets them all the time, just walking around. People repeat that. Didn't somebody repeat it to you at the White House?
Yes. A Secret Service agent. I walked by him at the White House. This was years ago. He didn't say hello. He just acknowledged my presence and said, Andy Reid looks like, and kind of had an ellipsis after that. And then I walked away and he said, don't mind if I do. That was the Secret Service agent. Fellas, I'm not making this up. Every day of my life, every day, somebody comes up to me and says something about the stupid Le Batard Show looks like. Yesterday, a guy tackled me at the grocery store and just said, Adam Silver looks like the lone French fry in a bag of onion rings. And then he just kept on walking.
That's how you do it.
This is what your show has done to my life.
Buster Olney looks like the dad who doesn't want to confront another parent in the carpool line, so he flips them off under the steering wheel.
Well, that's inaccurate because I know Buster very well, and he might be the first guy to get out of the car and say, you jumped in line in front of me, move out.
Wow.
He wouldn't do it under the steering wheel. He would go right into the guy's face.
Right.
Buster is a buster on every level.
But Timmy, you would do it under the steering wheel, right? You would.
Yeah, I'm not sure the last time I ever did that. But yes, I've told you guys I get a little bit more impatient in a car than I should. And it worried me that I read some story once that your personality in your car is your true personality. So that worries me a little bit because I can get a little impatient while driving a car.
Can you guys, before the end of this segment, have a series of have you ever questions for Tim Kurkjian? Because I imagine there are a lot of things that Tim Kurkjian has never done. And have you ever actually shot the middle finger at somebody?
I don't know. I have not. Now, I have done it by myself, probably to myself, but I don't think I've ever done that to another human being.
He would answer that question
I believe
honestly,
him. Yeah.
and I also love that he's so naughty that he would only do it to himself in a private area so no one else can see him doing it. I believe that he's that
hard to turn that finger around.
He's that fundamentally decent. Adam Silver looks like a torpedo bat.
He's the commissioner. There are more looks likes about him than anybody else. It's ridiculous.
Jim Rome looks like the guy who regularly takes practice golf swings in his office. Tim, what you're doing right now, we'll talk about baseball in a second, but there are a handful of projects that my friends are doing that are genuinely moving to me, and I love seeing you at this point in your career doing a podcast with your son that has so much love in it and baseball, but all the things that I love about the relationships that fathers and sons can form around baseball. It is so very cool and to hear the interactions between you and your son with him bringing out a side of you that people probably haven't seen before, even though they think they know plenty about you because you trust your son to be your producer and host. And it's just lovely. It's a lovely podcast that you do.
Well, thank you. He's the producer. He's the director. He's the co-host. He's the technical advisor. He is the marketing guy. He does everything for the show. All I do is show up now 3 days a week and provide some content. He does everything else. And I've told you guys, I drive from Maryland 3 hours to his house in Philadelphia to do the podcast, A, because it's better face-to-face, but B, if something goes wrong with the technology, he will be there to fix it, to repair it, whereas I, being the worst of all time at this, if anything goes wrong with my computer, I am completely lost. I am the worst of all time at so many things, but nobody is worse at technology than me.
Tim, 3 hours, 3 times a week you're driving for that?
with all due respect to me, he should be driving to you.
No. It's not all three. We just went to 3 days a week. So once a week, I'm driving 3 hours to my son's house to make sure that the show goes properly. We have learned how to do it remotely. He set up everything in my house, so I know how to do it. But no, he should not be coming to me. He has a 1-year-old daughter, my granddaughter, so there's no way we're going to make him work when I'm the one that can easily get in the car and drive.
So we will get to baseball stuff in a second with Tim, but for those of you who do not know, right, he's an extraordinary family man. I have seen him be better with his mother than I've seen almost any adult ever be with a parent late in life. And he recently lost his brother. And the reason the podcast that he's doing now is so moving to me is because I know how much his brother loved baseball, but I just can't believe the amount of joy that Tim must be getting from the simple act of being able to do this with his son. It's just extraordinary to hear love on a podcast that way. It's what, Tim, the reason I love it so much is the most meaningful thing I've done professionally is be able to get old next to my father on television because it gave me an entirely different relationship with my father than I had before that.
Right. Well, I always have had a great relationship with my son, Jeff, but it's gotten way better, if that's possible, through the podcast. And now we talk about 25 times a day. Who are you going to have on as the next guest? What are the Kurkjians for this week? What's the Kurkjian quandary? We go over this every single day. We're taping today at 11 a.m., and I can't wait. It has been the highlight of my entire career, and I don't care how corny that sounds. This is something we've always wanted to do. We laugh and we learn. And the good thing is Jeff's not a big baseball fan. So he's a good baseball fan. He doesn't know a lot because he grew up watching Whose Line Is It Anyway instead of watching every baseball game every night like his dopey pop-pop. So he knows so much about pop culture and music and everything else. And I don't know anything except for baseball and basketball and sitcoms from the 60s. So we're a good combination.
I will tell our audience who supports all the things we love and supports the people who have supported us that the name of the podcast is This a Great Game or What? He does it with his son, Jeff, and I encourage all of you to listen to it because it really is intimate and sweet.
Timmy, the Padres, the best team in baseball?
They are today, yeah. Now, that's going to change because everything changes in baseball. But, fellas, they got 6 shutouts already. Their starting pitching is really good. Their offense even hasn't really gotten going. Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill is hurt. Luis Arraez hasn't gotten going yet, and they still find a way to score runs. They're really good, but I'm telling you, fellas, the season began, and I saw the 6, maybe 7 best teams in baseball were all in the National League, and the Padres were one of them. So they are a very dangerous team, and they're not afraid of the Dodgers. The Dodgers are going to be the best team in baseball before this is over. But right now, I just did our power rankings this morning, and I picked the Padres first in baseball.
Tim, what's something the first few weeks of the season that you think you're second guessing? I thought this going into the year, but now I've seen something and I'm thinking differently about it.
Well, I had the Braves definitely going to the playoffs, and I'm not giving up on the Braves yet, but they have really labored. Now, they got Spencer Strider coming back today, which is a real helpful thing because he throws 100 with nasty, nasty secondary stuff. But I thought the Braves would be obviously better than this, but once they get Acuna Jr. back, and we're not positive when, that's been the big surprise for me is how they have struggled and how good the National League West has been. I knew the Giants were better. I knew the Diamondbacks were good. Padres are good. Dodgers good. But right now, that is a historically good division 3 weeks into the season.
Are the Braves struggling the biggest surprise of the season?
I'm sorry?
Is the Braves struggling so far early in the season the biggest surprise?
Yeah, I think team-wise, but Roy, the best part about this season is just how crazy and how unpredictable it has been, which has been every year. I mean, Rafael Devers went 0 for his first 21, but first 19 at-bats, he struck out 15 times in 19 at-bats. He's a really good hitter. At least 24 times I have slapped my forehead this season saying, how in the world could this have happened? I mean, right now, Tyler Soderstrom is leading the major leagues in homers. Wilmer Flores is leading the league in RBIs. Jonathan Aranda is leading the major leagues in batting average. This cannot happen in the NFL or the NBA that 3 weeks into the season, 3 players who are good players would be leading the entire major leagues. This is why baseball is the greatest game. It is way too good to be predicted. Good players are bad players are good. It makes absolutely no sense.
Hey, Tim, always a pleasure to be able to talk baseball with you. Have you ever asked a friend to help you get tickets to something?
All the time. And look, I don't want to be Mr. Ethical here, but I was taught at a very young age in the newspaper business, you do not take anything from anybody. I did a golf tournament in 1981, the Memorial, and they gave me a little notebook to take home with me that said Memorial on it. And my boss, Dave Smith, made me mail it back to the golf course saying, you don't give any of our guys anything for free. Yes, people ask me for tickets all the time, and I just have to politely say no. One guy, former pretty good player, Sandlot player, asked me if there's any way I could get him on the field. He was 55 years old, to hit and see if he could hit a ball over the wall at Fenway Park. He asked me if I could arrange that for him. I think that was the last day I spoke to him because that was the most ridiculous request ever.
Zazzle, I'll tell you what, I'm pretty certain that Timmy knows Eddie Vedder. I'm pretty certain. Yes.
Is this a true story, Tim?
Yeah, of course he knows Eddie Vedder.
I met Eddie Vedder once at the ballpark in Wrigley, but typically I wasn't sure how great he was until people told me, "Hey, you met Eddie Vedder. He's like the greatest of all time."
You've got so many. Wait, Tim, you've got this happened to you with Pitbull. This has happened. What is the most embarrassing time that it's happened where someone very famous is meeting you and you know so little about the world, pop culture, and anything other than baseball that you've insulted this person by not knowing who they are?
Well, I met Nickelback on an airplane once. The entire band was on somehow we got in a conversation with them. So I said, "So who are you guys?" And they said, we're Nickelback. And there was absolutely no understanding on my part. And I said, honestly, this is so bad. I'm so embarrassed.
It's not that bad. It's all right.
I said, "What is that?" And he said, "Oh, we're a musical band or a group or whatever they called it." So I was sitting with Nickelback. They explained who they were, and I didn't know who they were. That's how bad poor Pop is at so many things.
Oh, and that's
I love
sweet.
you so much.
You should really listen to Poor Papa's podcast. That's what the name of it should be.
Pop, that's fine.
Poor Pop.
Yeah, we have a segment every week, Dan, called Poor Pop-Up because we go over something that everyone else in the world is capable of doing except for me. And then Jeffrey, who is a magician at doing so many things, he can fix anything, he can figure everything out. He explains how the world works in our weekly segment called Poor Pop-Up, where I just explain what a dope I really am.
Stugotz, have you heard from your guy yet?
I have not. No. Nope.
All right, we will stay on this because Stugotz and I are going to have to compete to see if we can get Zaslow some Pearl Jam tickets. You mentioned the rules of journalism. I could take anything under $25, but anything that was worth more than $25, I had to pay for. I was not allowed to do anything there beyond $25. You had $0, Tim? You could not accept a pen?
Well, I'm sure I accepted a pen, but back in the newspaper days, Dan, when I covered the Texas Rangers, they, of course, used to feed us in the press room every night, and it was for free because back then in the early 80s, the press room didn't charge as they do today. But my boss, Dave Smith, the guy who made me send the satchel back to the Memorial Golf Tournament, he made it very clear to the Rangers early on that we are not going to eat free in your press room. And he sent them like a $500 check so the beat writer, me, could eat for the season in the press room at Arlington Stadium. And then we had this discussion. Oh, my God. My sports editor and Doug Rader and I. Doug Rader was the manager of the Rangers in 1983. Dave Smith came down to meet him, and Doug Rader said, if we win the World Series this year, Tim will get a World Series ring because he's the beat guy. To which my boss, not recognizing how Doug Rader was just pulling a string, they got in this huge argument whether I should get a World Series ring or not. Needless to say, they didn't win the World Series, but if they had, I promise you, I would not have gotten or accepted a World Series ring.
Timmy, you're wearing a beautiful, and we all noticed it, by the way, a beautiful Walter Johnson jacket. I'm wondering, did he hand that to you personally?
Stugotz, as you may not know, Walter Johnson died on December 10th, 1946. I was born. I was born.
How do you know that exact date? You don't know. You don't know how to do anything. How do you know that exact date? You weirdo.
Well, if you would let me finish.
Okay,
he
sorry.
died on December 10th, 1946. I was born on December 10th, 1956. 10 years to the day after Walter Johnson died, I was born. How can you forget that when you go to Walter Johnson High School?
Again,
you
with
work
this.
for the school
I'm
paper.
so sorry. This is the part. This is the part of you I've never missed.
Right.
The rage that happens
Just
every
ask a
time
question.
that
I
you
mean,
come on with us and you're enraged. Like this is how it happens
like
every
he's in
time.
the car.
We start with laughter and then eventually you just get enraged and start screaming at me in front of everybody. Like it happens every time, and like the audience is tired of how abusive you are to me.
All right. I have never been angry at you even one time, Dan, and you have asked me some of the dumbest questions in the history of radio, and I still have never gotten mad at you.
When did Rusty Staub die?
Oh, no.
I believe Rusty Staub, I know this. Rusty Staub died on opening day when the Marlins played on opening day, and Hap hit a home run on the first pitch of the game.
You can't do this.
Right.
You cannot.
No, that I believe this. I believe Rusty Staub died that day because we were talking about, first pitch of the Marlins season is hit for a home run by Hap of the Cubs, and then we went through. And Rusty Staub, hit a home run as a teenager and a home run as a 40-year-old. And he was the second guy to do that. Ty Cobb was the first.
It's common
And they
knowledge.
once asked Gene Mauch, the manager of the Expos, when Rusty Staub was a star there. Gene Mauch, who was a pretty funny, quiet guy, he said he has Boku power, and I knew what that meant even before I knew what the word Boku meant. So I'm pretty sure that's the day that Rusty Staub died. Opening day, the Marlins, and first pitch home run.
Tell us something we don't know.
We have confirmed that Rusty Staub did die that day, and we actually have sound. Billy was in the stadium on the phone with our show when this home run happened.
Give us as much as you can here. Take us up to the dramatic first pitch, Billy.
Jose Urena standing at the back of the mound. He reaches down. He's rubbing some dirt and rosin on his hands, and here we go. Oh, now he's writing something on the mound with his fingers next to the logo. I can't see what he's writing. All right. He's, here we go.
All right.
And the windup and the pitch. Oh, God, a home run on the first pitch of the game. Oh, my God.
Welcome, Derek Jeter, and that concludes our Marlins coverage for the season.
Let the guy make the call, huh?
Just swallowed Billy.
The best part is you could so clearly hear the bat on the ball.
Yeah.
Tim, I want to ask you, I know how much you love pitching matchups. You look every day to find little word plays with the pitching matchups. I want you to remind the people how excited you got when the Dodgers played the Nationals and it was Dustin May versus Mackenzie Gore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, this is what we do on our podcast. I challenged my son, Jeff, again, not a baseball aficionado like his dopey dad. I said, Jeff, look at the starting pitching matchups today and tell me what you notice. And he looked and looked and looked and came up with the starting pitching matchup today was Gore May. So he found it. I was so proud of him. And I told him, you know, the day you got married, the day you had a baby, I was so proud of you. But today might be the most proud I've ever been because you found Gore and May and put them together. And yes, I look at all the starting pitching matchups. There's no telling what you might see. Of course, Ivan Nova faced Matt Cain several years ago, so we had the Nova-Cain matchup. That was always one of my favorites. And Chad Moeller, the only thing that baseball ever lets us down on, Chad Moeller, former catcher, if he had caught in that game, it would have been the greatest pitching matchup battery in the history of the sport, that Chad Moeller was the catcher for the Nova-Cain game.
I love it.
That's so good. Does Rex Ryan look like the father-in-law who, when finding out your wife is pregnant, awkwardly high-fives you and says, glad to hear your old equipment still works?
Look at him.
Does Chiefs owner Clark Hunt look like the director of a funeral home who makes candles out of its surplus embalming fluid?
Oh, God, this is so bad.
Yeah.
Tim, always good to be able to talk baseball with you. If you had to bet who is better at getting something done for their friend, would it be Stugotz or Dan?
I would go with Dan probably
Same, yeah.
every time on that. I know Stugotz has his ways of doing things. He got me to write something for his book. It didn't take long.
You were great.
But I think Dan is very persuasive because his use of the English language is absolutely breathtaking, and I'm not kidding. And I just think sometimes if you use the proper words and you're really good with the language, you can get people to do what you want to do. And Dan is not only better than Stugotz, Dan is better than just about everyone.
But Stugotz should still try, though, right?
Oh, of course. Stugotz is always going to try. I
Right.
think that's fairly obvious.
Thank you, Timmy. Not always, but thank you, Timmy. I appreciate it. Timmy, if you tell me to shut up on this, I will. Joe Mauer is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, he's not, Timmy.
All right. Stugotz, I understand your point. To me, you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. It doesn't matter if you're a first ballot or not. So if you think he's a Hall of Famer, you should put him in on the first ballot. That's just the way that I think about it. Stugotz, you look at the first 8 years, 10 years as a catcher for Joe Mauer, there's really no comparable other than Mike Piazza, who's the greatest hitting catcher of all time. Johnny Bench is the greatest catcher. Yogi Berra is the second greatest catcher. But Joe Mauer did things that no catcher has ever done. in the history of the sport when it comes to winning batting titles, all that stuff. So that's why I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But again, I don't include first ballot. If he's a Hall of Famer, he's getting my vote. I don't care if it's the first ballot or the 10th.
Wait a minute, though. I
That's
mean,
interesting.
Well, okay, but we overlooked a couple of things here. I don't want to just simply skip past that we did not plan that Rusty Staub moment. I chose a random player.
Yeah.
And said, what's the date that he died? And Tim Kurkjian, what was at the date. That's a weird thing to have happen. It's an unusual. It's not a coincidence. It makes me wonder how many things like this Tim Kurkjian could do like that, because that's not normal, Tim. Your retention for these things is crazy. I had a conversation with Al Michaels. All right.
Yep. Thank you.
I had a conversation in which he had recall from a World Series game that he called 40-something years ago that had all of the players in the same place that they were, because it's a retention that is genius level. You have an ability here to do weird things like this on a number of different subjects, on a number of different dates and times and numbers, correct?
All right, I have some skills when it comes to that. Those are my only skills. But I'm telling you, Dan, it's a baseball thing. We have another segment on our show called I Am a Seamhead. The first guy who came on, Mark Simon, can tell you who made the last out to end every World Series for the last 70 years. The second guy was Judd Birch, who can name every umpire in the major leagues based on the uniform number on their jersey, which we didn't even know they had a uniform number. Then we had on Jeff Bennett, formerly of ESPN, who can tell you what every baseball card looks like from 1982 through 85, front of the baseball card and back of the baseball card, birthplace, height, weight, Carl Yastrzemski. I'm not making this up. And then we had a guy named Mike Pedica on last week, and you could go like this to Mike. He used to work for the Indians as an AP writer. 127 hits, 481 at bats, and in a matter of 2 seconds, he could figure that out in his head and give you the batting average. These are what seam heads can do, and I maintain they're more in baseball than any other sport. So yes, I have strange retention of things, but on things that are really important, I can't remember anything.
I understand that you're good at your job, allegedly, but I just want you to know that as you started saying that, my executive producer, who's had a heavy tongue for a couple of days here, said in my ear, because he's distracting and is keeping me actively from listening to the person who's talking, useless.
I mean, all those things.
The final out thing,
like that. He knows what every baseball card looked like. He could tell you the umpire's number. Just a useless stuff to know.
But that's kind of the point. Baseball is pointless, and that's what makes it so interesting. So just the other day, the Rays scored 1 run in the first inning, 4 runs in the second inning, 9 runs in the third inning against the Red Sox. So I checked with the people who could look this up. It's the first time in Major League history that any team has ever scored 1 in the first, 4 in the second, 9 in the third. We played 150 years. We played well over 200,000 games. And that first 3-line score had never happened in baseball history. It's pointless. It's useless. It's stupid. But people actually care about that stuff, including me.
Tim, what's your son Jeff's birthday?
I hope he gets this wrong.
He's thinking about it.
I don't need to think about it.
I'm not going to take a quiz. Look, this is his angry side again. When he doesn't know something, he lashes out, and all of a sudden he gets defensive. We get it. You don't know you don't know.
August 9th, 1993. Okay. And his daughter was born on August 10th of 1993. Wow. She came a couple hours late. Otherwise, his daughter would have been born on his birthday on the night that Michael Lorenzen was pitching a no-hitter for the Phillies while Dad and Mom were watching the Phillies on the TV in the hospital room thinking our daughter's going to be born on Daddy's birthday and the night that Michael Lorenzen threw a no-hitter. We just missed out on that.
What was the umpire doing home plate's jersey number?
I'm not kidding you. This Judd Birch guy, you could ask him on a random Tuesday night, no matter where you are, doesn't matter who's working second base in Texas, and he would say Adrian Johnson. I tested him on it. He can do these things. Weird people exist in baseball, and that's another reason I love it, and I'm not apologizing for it.
Quick aside, just to close the loop, my father-in-law often told me I look like Rusty Staub.
Useless.
Rusty Staub was a great cook, by the way.
So am I.
He used to pack his pots and pans with him on road trips. So if it was like a 10-day trip, he would get a hotel room that has like a stove and an oven, and he would take his own pots and pans and cook for himself on the road.
Amazing.
He was also one of the few players heavy set like that, and the only only one who was orange.
I think that's what my father-in-law's doing.
And Buck Showalter once asked me, this is so typical Buck Showalter. He looks at me one night randomly and says, "Give me a great player who's got a lot of freckles." That's what he said to me. And I can't even, I've never been asked this question in my life. So I just reflexively said, Rusty Staub. And he goes, "I said a great player, not a really good player." He was angry that I guess Rusty Staub, it was the best I could do. But imagine being asked by a former major league manager, who's the best player you've ever seen who has a lot of freckles? Wow, didn't see it coming.
What's Buck Showalter's birthday?
Buck is the same age as I am. I'm going to say it's late May of 1956. I'll be close on that.
Can he really do this? There's no way. We've got so many games.
May 23rd, 56.
Okay, we're going to keep quizzing him. It is. It
took him less time than his sons.
It's crazy. It's voodoo. It did take him less time than his son. That's shocking.
He was more confident.
He was more confident. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are you surprised at all that Tim Kurkjian knows more about Buck Showalter than he does about his own son? Does Paul Skeens look like someone tried to draw Josh Allen from memory?
That is so good.
Does Tony Reali look like the overzealous owner of an Italian restaurant who always greets you at the door with "my favorite couple" when you walk in?
So good.
Does Brock Purdy look like a young pastor? Does Kirby Smart look like the wholesale tire rep who tells you he didn't charge you for that alignment even though it's complimentary? Does Bill Plaschke look like he's the father of Jonathan Zaslow?
Oh, my God.
What is that picture, Zaz?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
That was after a Panther loss in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah.
I know exactly what it was.
Does Jonathan Zaslow look like an adult playing the role of a toddler? Tim, before you get out of here, quickly, because I want to tell people his baseball stuff is so good, and baseball stuff at ESPN is, look, I'm just going to say, Tim's baseball stuff is really good, and he wrote a piece last month before the start of the season about the decline of the first baseman. And he really cares about this sport and this stuff more than anyone I've ever met in my life, and I know Boog Shambi. And so the decline of the first baseman, what happened?
Well, the industry has decided that first base is no longer an important offensive position. So we take Luis Ariz, who I love, but Luis Ariz is not a first baseman, but they put him at first base because it's the position he can play where he can play every single day. We've gotten away from the first baseman hitting a lot of home runs and driving in runs. Instead, we mix and match, and we go put a lot of people over there who really aren't first basemen. Plus, the days of the left-handed, it's a left-hander's position, fellas. Trust me on that. The days of John Olerud are over, where you find a left-handed thrower who can hit, really play defense, and drive in runs. We don't care about that guy anymore at first base. The batting average for first baseman last year was the lowest since 1900. and the OPS was the lowest since 1968. And it's because the industry no longer values what a first baseman can bring, big time power, but they look, and with all the shifting, we need a really quick guy over there. We need somebody who can cover a lot of ground. And that's why Pete Alonso took all this time to just get a job, because they looked at the body type, doesn't run very well, not very good defensive player, only got a 2-year deal, and he's off to a great start, by the way.
Does Mel Kiper look like the father of the bride who lets out a less than subtle cough when he feels the first kiss has gone on a little too long?
Oh, God. We have Mel. Get this. We have Mel on our podcast next week on the day before the draft to talk to him about baseball. The best Mel Kiper, Dan, looks like, you remember, he looks like the eagle who protects the young eagles. I'm pretty close on that. The protective eagle, Mel Kiper. How great is that?
Does Mike Schur look like he lets out a little toot while walking from the putting green back to the golf cart? He does. Does Draymond Green look like he eats apples whole? Did you guys prepare any new game here at the end? I want a name, imaging, anything for Has Tim Kurkjian ever done something before? What do we have here?
We have a few submissions here, Tim. Tim, have you ever sent food back at a restaurant?
I have not, and that's a fact. I get everything like cooked really all the way through. A couple times steak was a little bit rare, but I just said it's not important. I'll eat it anyway. So no, I've never sent anything back at a restaurant.
Tim, have you ever played dominoes?
I have. I wasn't very good at them, but I've played dominoes.
Have you ever had cafecito?
I don't even know what that is, but I've only had 2 cups of coffee in my life.
What?
So if that has anything to do with coffee, and both of them were on the radio because Mike Greenberg was amazed during the Mike and Mike show that I'd never had a cup of coffee. So I drank one and then another 3 weeks later on the air just to show that I've actually had a cup of coffee. It's really pathetic. But as you know, I drink a Diet Mountain Dew every morning with the box scores, which is great. In fact, Dan bought me a refrigerator that had Diet Mountain Dew written all over it. But I had to throw it out because the motor in it was broken and
Too noisy.
Sounded like there was a lawnmower in my room.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gift didn't go the way I intended it to. I just sent him a loud.
He had a good run with it.
And he had to throw it out, and it was heavy. How long did you have it?
About a year.
Yeah.
It's not really a good run. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is a year with a vending machine a good run?
It's a cup of coffee.
By the way, you'd know if you had the cup of coffee I'm talking about. Actually, it's a thimble of coffee. It's Cuban coffee. It's jet fuel. You would fly to your son's house instead of driving, by the way. Just lift off and...
No, but I did go to Cuba, and I had a mojito, which I'd never had.
Whoa!
Wacky.
Yeah.
You made it sexy. Yes, you hit us with the mojito. What just happened there, Chris Cody? Useless.
I was looking for white guys.
Useless. Tim, thank you for being on with us. It's always a pleasure seeing you, and I will tell the audience again, you should check out Poor Pop Pop.
Poor Pop Pop. Yeah, we have several of them this week. Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks, Dan. See you guys. I miss you guys.
All right, love you, Teddy.
Likewise.
Thank you.
And spent $300 on appetizers. And
Hell yeah.
And I remember, I'm not a fast talker. If anything, I'm a slow, deliberate talker who says a lot of ums and ahs.
Right.
My wife at that restaurant accused me of speed talking, of talking faster than I ever had in my entire life, which I wasn't even conscious of. So yeah, it hit me very hard.
All right.
Enjoyable though. I have no idea what I ordered for my main course.
3 or 4 though, man.
Are you sure you didn't do cocaine?
No, they were edible.
I've never had
cookies.
someone really high and be like, "This, you shut up, dude."
I know. Believe me, that was new to me too. Because normally you're talking like a 1970s, rock DJ.
Or is it possible that life had slowed down so much for your wife that by
It seemed like you were
you were
Right.
talking normally, but to her you were talking at an incredibly fast rate of speed.
That's possible. That's a possibility.
Oh
That's a
my
good point.
God.
Did the waiter walk up and you're like, I ate edibles because you're just like terrified?
No. Believe me,
It's legal here. I'm on vacation.
believe me, I'm sure he sensed it. You know, working in that state and seeing somebody in that state, I'm sure he sensed something.
How much was the bill that night?
Oh gosh, I think we ordered a nice bottle of wine, which always jacks it up. So I think it was like a $400 bill.
I mean, you were hammered.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
4 cookies and a
Yeah.
bottle of wine.
Oh my gosh.
Probably like
Jesus
7
Christ.
Miller Lights.
Right. Exactly.
This episode is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Chris Cody
Man,
has had a
impressive.
heavy tongue over the last couple of days, but he did that really well.
Thank you.
The hockey playoffs and the baseball, the basketball playoffs are going to rattle and shake this show over the next couple of months. Amin's flying in. Last night he's doing Memphis Golden State, and he's flying in for this. And I have to get to what I am telling you, Stugotz. I am serious about. It's one of the most embarrassing things to ever happen to me, professionally or personally. But it'll be in minutes that I will get to it.
Okay, minutes.
Yes, I'm going to make the apology publicly in minutes. But Chris Cody was telling me, because he's been doing a private show for me here the last couple of days. It's very funny. I wish you could hear it. That David is annoyed again. That David is bothered at the start of this.
That's just me reading body language. I haven't heard from him.
He looks annoyed.
Okay,
He looks annoyed all the time.
Okay, are you mad at us? Is there something wrong?
I just had the time wrong, so it's all good.
So you're mad at yourself?
Yeah, it's my fault. I thought it was supposed to be 10:20 when it was 10:27.
Okay.
Eastern. My bad.
All right.
How you guys doing?
Well, no, but Sampson's right about one thing. We run a loose ship around here, and he doesn't have a lot of time.
10:27.
I know, but he does.
Show business, baby. Like, what is like? Come on, this is not 9 to 5 here. We're wheeling and dealing.
You're wheeling and dealing, Chris? Yes, you are the executive producer who's supposed to be wheeling and dealing. You are supposed to be driving the show so that things happen when they're supposed to be happening.
Cooking with Tim Kurkjian. We were cooking.
But sometimes
By showing
things
a picture
happen.
of Mel Kiper?
No, you're wrong. Listen, I had to tell Greg Maddox one time because we had a conflict with guests that, hey, we'll call you back in an hour, and he was fine with it. Okay? I mean.
And you're not Greg Maddox.
And you're not Maddox, right.
And it was Rusty Staub, by the way, not Mel Kiper.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, it was also Mel Kiper. Though.
Nah, it was Rusty Staub.
It was Rusty.
It was
eagle,
It was Mel Kiper with the protective eagle, Tony.
Regardless, you're annoyed because we're late again. Roy, what are you laughing
He's annoyed
about?
because he got his time wrong. I mean.
I didn't like the way he said that to me, by the way. I didn't
what,
like that.
What don't you like?
It was very just dismissive.
Well, but look, man.
Because it was.
But we have a problem around here generally about how David Sampson would like things run and how it is that we run things here at Metal Art. Like, it's a recurring theme. He's recurringly angry at everyone.
Sounds like David Sampson has a problem, not us.
Yeah.
Does David have a ticket guy? Does David? I imagine that David.
David has a ticket guy.
Let's get right to it.
He has a ticket guy.
Zaslow wants Pearl Jam tickets.
Needs.
Do you think that you could get him Pearl Jam tickets?
Well, the answer is, would I? Because of course I can.
Mm-hmm.
But
Again
the
with
answer
this.
is, would I?
Well, would you?
Well, yeah. What are we weighing here? Like, what are we talking about?
Well, clearly not now. It's a week before the show, and the shows were announced months ago, so it can't be that you're that disorganized that you're just making the ask today.
Oh, I think my ticket guy could do that in a week. I can't have a better. I can't have a better ticket guy than you. There's no way that I've got a better ticket guy than you.
Do you really have a ticket guy if you got to give him months advance notice? Like, I feel like
It's not a ticket guy.
Ticket guy is a guy like
5
hey,
minutes
man.
before the show. Yes.
And it's not that I'm disorganized. It's that I don't want to have to count on someone else. Like I'd like to get it done myself, and I have failed. I have failed miserably. So now I need help.
Well, there's something you mentioned before that got me nervous because you talked about seats in the rafters, and I know you know the venue they're playing at.
Yeah.
It's a very small, intimate venue. So you say rafters, I think AAA or I think Hard Rock.
No, that's fair, but you got to weigh it's sitting up top, and am I also able to pay $2,000? And it's like,
well, this is what I would say, and Zaslow, I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver on this one because I don't think that I can do better than Samson here. I don't think I can do better than Samson could. But
me, yes.
I do believe that I could not only get Pearl Jam tickets. I believe that my ticket guy could get good Pearl Jam tickets.
Now,
and with a week's notice.
Yeah, I was about to say, would he need about 6 months advance notice in writing?
I believe I could get those tickets by the end of the day for Zaslow.
My God.
Really?
COB.
I'll work for free this week if that happens.
Face value?
Yeah, hold on. I just heard something. Wait 1 second. I thought I just heard he said he would work for free.
No doubt.
Okay, so now we're just calculating. Now it's an easy math.
Now we're cooking, Samson.
Now
we're
perked up.
Now we're cooking.
All right,
now we're going on to game time.
So make the deal, Samson. That you think if you
an easy one.
Okay, you think it's an easy one to get Zaslow to
Now
work
we're
for
cooking
free?
with gas.
You think it's easy? Wait a minute. You can't have a lack of faith in your ticket guy and then say, but if Zaslow's willing to work for free,
Yeah, but now he has a reason.
all of a sudden you have a ticket guy that can do what I'm saying my ticket guy
Not
can
talking
do.
about 6 months anymore.
I'm going on game time and I'm doing the arbitrage. What? I don't understand this conversation. I will have tickets in your mailbox, Zaz, and you will be on the schedule for tomorrow and Friday for free, and you will have 2 tickets to the concert next week. I'm going on the game time.
2
app.
shows,
We
Thursday
have
and
a
Saturday.
deal?
2 shows.
Two shows. Thursday,
Both.
Saturday.
Thursday and
And you're
Saturday.
doing 2 shows tomorrow and Friday.
100%.
What about
I'm sorry.
What about wait a minute? What about instead of 1 ticket both nights? How about 2 tickets one night?
You're asking me?
I was asking Zaslow.
Oh no, I need to go to both shows.
But you need 2 tickets to each show, right?
Yeah, how do I not
Right.
take my son? He loves them too. My
Okay.
son.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Now multiple tickets where we got a problem. Like
Right.
we got.
No, I would accept just one. No, I
See,
would
this is
accept,
what
I'd accept
happened.
just
This-
one.
You do the arbitrage thing.
No,
Whatever
I'm not
you
going to be a schnurrer. If you presented me with 1 ticket, I'm very happy about that. Very.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you know what a schnurr is?
It's not that.
Everyone does.
I don't know.
A
what
schnorrer.
I don't know what those are.
Like
do that
this
at night.
someone who is greedy, doesn't appreciate. Yeah.
Me.
Okay. So I'm sorry, David, that we still haven't gotten to your segment, but I'm going to have to, and this is rude of me, I am going to have to knock Samson out of the way here to tell you about one of the most embarrassing personal and professional moments of my career and to welcome in Pablo Torre in order to do so because beyond being the person who married me and my wife, I am just extraordinarily proud of him for a number of different reasons. The work that he's doing, the awards that he's winning, the things that he's doing on MSNBC, and the way that I did something on air this week made Mina Kimes ask me if me and Pablo were okay. And if she asks me that, I did something very wrong on air that then got aggregated. And Zaslow comes in here today, and asks me, what did you ask me?
Well, I read it yesterday on Barrett Sports Media, and the tone of the article was very much, Dan is really mad at Pablo Torre.
Okay, so anyways, a lot of people thought this because of something that happened on air this week, and it's just totally my bad that that's how that came out, because I'm not kidding you when I say professionally and personally wildly embarrassing to me that any of that would land on Pablo, because the work that he's doing is singular and it's extraordinary.
I don't know what's happening.
Right.
What are you apologizing for?
Are you making an apology?
Yes,
I am. Yes. So
Do
listen.
we need to relive this, though?
I do, 'cause I didn't live it.
Hey, guys.
For those of us who don't know, yes, we do.
Me,
Yes.
me Pablo. I'm also here, beaming in from 30 Rockefeller Center in New York. What's funny about all of this, you can imagine, is that when Dan mentions that Mina was concerned about me and Dan and our friendship, I hadn't even known about the Barrett Sports Media thing, by the way. I was dealing with DMs from a separate sports media writer, so that's cool. Great to know that. something that Mina and I both advised was that Dan not do what he's doing right now live. So cool, but let's do it.
No, I didn't get that part. But regardless, the thing that I wanted to play for all of you, and one of the many reasons that I am proud of Pablo, is he is doing on Morning Joe something that I have not seen, never mind on that show. With an easy grace, he is capturing our times in a way that you need to listen to what he is doing journalistically, and you need to listen to what he's doing socially. Because I'm going to play a clip from Morning Joe here. And he's got a facility around things that are happening in America right now that are deeply, deeply troubling. And I'm just really happy to see him doing things like this on MSNBC on behalf of us and the company.
It's a test. We are now taking a test.
What's the test?
The test is, do you see these people as human beings deserving of the protection as human beings of the country that has styled itself the foremost protector of decency and due process in human history? And when you show these videos and you allow this administration to cast these people as people who should be shackled, who don't look like you, what they don't want you to realize in the case of Mr. Abrego Garcia is that this was a dad who was apprehended while in a parking lot of an IKEA with his autistic son in the back. And one of the most primary criteria for why he was apprehended was because he was wearing a Chicago Bulls cap and hoodie. Everybody acknowledges that this guy, as we see photos of him and his family, did not deserve any of this. And if this was somebody who looked a little bit more like the people we tend to be intuitively sympathetic towards, which is to say very clearly, if he was a white guy who wasn't generally associated with what it means to be scary and foreign, John, this is the sort of story, the suspension of due process, the deportation to a terrorist prison camp in El Salvador, that has Americans typically saying, this is why we need our Second Amendment. And here, I just wonder why that level of panic has not risen to the level of action, because it is absolutely horrifying.
Woke bullshit.
I'm still not clear on what you're apologizing for, Dan.
Right. I mean, fill us in.
I just want to rank quarterbacks. Can we rank quarterbacks?
Thank you.
Can we do that?
David, what are your general thoughts on everything that's happening here? We've pushed you out of the way. You're busy texting.
You still here?
You look like you're annoyed again. We've got Pablo from the set of MSNBC, where he's becoming a huge star.
So you have.
So
Yeah, I'm just trying to calculate whether we're losing monetization by clipping that long a clip off MSNBC, and whether or not Pablo was aware that we were doing this, because I think it's fantastic. And the focus should be on what Pablo's doing with Meadowlark as part of Pablo Torre Finds Out. Just one of the most unbelievable things, getting nominated for a Peabody Award, and the aggregation of you being upset with Pablo. It's a frickin' Tuesday that you're aggregated for people misunderstanding things that happen, if not members of your family and friends. So my focus, to the extent that I'm still sitting here 18 minutes later, is that Pablo's show is so good that for anything Meadowlark adjacent to be recognized the way his show is a credit to what, Dan, you have done and started. And you should be damn freaking proud of it.
You want us to celebrate a nomination?
Congratulations! Yes, a nomination.
Wonderful.
This went this very quickly, and I have to say, maybe even predictably went from I am feeling my heart growing full to I hate you guys. I really do.
Well, we love you.
Dan, I got you a Peabody nomination. It's a nomination.
A nominee.
It is a
Right,
nomination.
yes, relax.
Yes. The winners are announced at some point in the future. I want to explain what's happening to Amin. Remember when your parents were like, well, I don't know if this is the right metaphor, but it feels like when, as a kid, the adult in the room starts off by complimenting you, and it's so effusive that it becomes suspicious.
Yes.
It's that setup times the time that you and Izzy were fighting on air.
Oh,
it's kind of like that stuff.
That was great.
Kind of like all that stuff.
You know what's funny? When you get nominated for these things, the show's nominated, but typically they submit a particular episode. Pablo, I just want to make sure, was the episode submitted the haunted hotel one in Oklahoma City?
That was not what we submitted.
But I still get a Peabody if we win, right? Because
we cut this thing up.
Well,
we cut
Samson,
this thing up into pieces.
Samson, what's the face? What's the face that you're making? Because I will let everyone know that Samson, among the budget cuts that he's recommending, award prices, nomination prices. Like Samson doesn't want any. Look,
You got to save where you can.
Can we
Dano.
go through a day without being aggregated? Can we go through one day without Barrett Sports Media getting in my inbox about the awards budget? Jesus Christ.
What is Samson laughing about? He's trying to.
How bad you are at this.
So what?
What was the apology for again?
The balloon.
I still have no idea what
Chris.
happened.
The balloons aren't helping, Chris. The balloons are not helping us.
No, they're great.
We're trying to be an adult media company winning the most prestigious awards in journalism and getting Emmy nominations for documentaries and signing giant deals. And all I'm seeing is Chris Cody waving balloons
Give
like
me fireworks.
Please get
There we go.
fireworks.
Just visually. Visually.
That's our budget for fireworks.
They're gonna take back the nomination.
Guys,
they're gonna take it back, guys.
Guys, I stayed at a haunted hotel for one night, man.
No, this can't
Come
be.
on.
This can't be. This can't be. This can't be. They're going to take back the nomination. I'm going to screw it up while I'm apologizing. While I'm apologizing. No, this can't be. This can't be true.
Please,
All right.
help me, please. I swear to you all listening and watching on the Le Batard Network and live, Dan and I spoke this morning about myriad things. One of them was, here's 2 words that we should consider not saying: awards budget.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
David.
I don't even remember
We
that.
haven't learned yet, Dave?
I don't even remember
We are
that.
unsurprised to hear Dan say that.
I'm
just going to speak for everybody now.
Cue the fireworks.
Pablo, thank you. Yeah.
No one's surprised.
I can't believe Samson is so surprised. I mean,
You got to be kidding me. You have to.
I don't know if people realize how
I'm not well. I'm not well.
There's
I'm missing so many fucking
You are
things.
having fireworks.
This is
fly
not
over
on
your face,
Dan.
though, as
You
you
need
bury
to
your
know
head in
when
your
you
hands,
tell
which
Dan
is
not to say something,
He's gonna say it.
Gonna say it.
Yep.
This is on whoever told Dan.
This
anything.
is
Sean Sampson.
mortifying to me. Mortifying. I'm not doing this on purpose.
It's not your fault.
It is my fault.
No, it's Samson's fault. It's Pablo. No, your teammates.
It's definitely Pablo and Samson's fault.
It is
Always.
absolutely.
It's Amici's fault. I'll say
my
it. Yeah.
fault. It's nobody's fault, but
I've been hearing more about Amici and his fault, so I'm gonna earmark that for a future follow up.
Okay, so I am very proud of you, Pablo.
Cue the fireworks over Dan.
Oh boy.
I am very. So, the episode that you got nominated for a Peabody Award, and honestly, you could have selected 40 of your shows and nominated them, and any of them would have gotten a nomination.
Overdoing it.
Like the haunted hotel one.
The one that did get a nomination, how did you select it over the others? I swear to God, Pablo, I'm trying to apologize to you, and I just did it the same.
The fireworks that Chris is playing over your face are a bit less persuasive than the words coming out of your mouth.
I
at the
told
moment,
David
but
this
I will leave
morning that
aside,
I was
guess.
willing to fly to New York this weekend to apologize to you, and
Or budget, am I right, David?
Yeah.
Said no.
Most expensive apology in the history of apology.
The apology budget is a remarkable line item for this company to consider. I don't know. I don't know what's happening anymore. I just, by the way, like the entirety of MSNBC's on the other side of this door, I presume now just like listening to what sounds like their new alleged star employee being a crazy person, yelling about fireworks and balloon boobs. Like, I don't really know.
Pump your brakes. You're not an employee. You're just a contractor.
Take it easy.
I will say to you, and letting people look behind the curtain, that this right here is precisely the reason that our former executive producer, before I got old heavy tongue over here, said, I do not trust Dan on live television anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yep.
I think David is peeing himself at the moment.
Oh, he is.
I just can't even imagine what just happened.
What happened?
Did the apology happen?
I have no idea what he's apologizing for.
I don't know.
So Pablo, what episode was it finally?
Sorry, it was Dallas Cowboys.
You can't. Okay, well we can.
We did a press release.
We did do a press release.
I missed that. My bad.
Was the press release for the
Get
apology?
out of here, David.
I just want you to know that part of my goal here at Meadowlark, stop with the fireworks, please. Chris, stop with the fireworks. One of my goals is to get Tony to listen to an episode of my show. And this may seem as unlikely as converting a Trump voter in 2025 to the notion that we as Americans have partnered with a guy who calls himself the world's coolest dictator in El Salvador. It may be as unlikely as that very proposition, but I'm going to try. I'm really going to try.
Tony, watch the Haunted Hotel one. It's
Okay,
awesome.
I was gonna say
It's awesome.
Amin's on that one. I'll
Yeah.
watch. But if you tell me the one that got nominated for a Peabody, I'll check it out.
Right.
I think it was that one.
Oh, is that one? Okay, excellent.
It wasn't that one.
Send me the link,
guys. It
Pablo.
wasn't that
It
one.
wasn't that one.
But it could have been, according to Dan.
I'm not fooling around here that while apologizing for what is one of the most embarrassing moments of my professional and personal career, I'm repeating the mistake and parts of it that I was just apologizing for because I'm not well. I'm forgetting things that people say to me. And I have David Sampson is laughing to keep from crying because he has not been able to protect me
he's crying.
from myself.
He's lost that battle. He's lost all the battles you've mentioned. Crying, you versus you.
Every one of them.
Just a series of defeats.
So how is it that this was nominated over other things? Because I imagine on what is an extraordinary podcast unlike any other in the space, not just sports space, the podcast space, doing important journalism, you had a top 5 or top 10 list and it was hard to get it down to one.
Yeah, look, the whole thesis of what we're doing at Meadowlark, by the way, the whole reason I do my show is because I believe that sports is a way into really genuinely entertaining and nourishing stories. Like my whole thing, as I've said to Dan many times, is that I want to melt some cheese on broccoli, right? Like I'm not just trying to scold you and shame you into caring about something. I want to tell you a story. And so the story we picked is the episode in which we sent one of our correspondents to a supermax prison in Texas to meet a guy on death row to talk about how at an alarming and frankly insane and eye-opening rate, people who are about to be executed in Texas shout out the Dallas Cowboys. They shout out their favorite sports teams. And so this was an episode in which we went inside a supermax prison, went inside death row to talk about what it's like to be in a fantasy football league. What's it like to care about the most popular American thing? What's it like to be able to laugh about what it's like to be a Cowboys fan? What it's like to actually consider, as this man we interviewed, Charles Flores, told us, what it's like to consider your Dallas Cowboys fandom in some ways even sadder than the fact that you've been fighting for your innocence for 25 years on death row, right? Like there is absurdity and laughter and actual news you could use about capital punishment in there. And no one else is doing it like this company, man. Look at the pride I have, the authentic fireworks I want to set off here, are that you look at this list of nominees, and it was shocking when we got it. It's that it's a bunch of enormous companies with all the pedigrees and the awards already. And then it's this company with these people who can't even apologize right for an apology they attempted to do. Also in that room. It's kind of amazing.
And nothing personal
to all of it. And also not that, but sure, let's just throw some stuff in at the end. Yeah, also that.
So he's apologizing for,
I don't know.
Question mark?
I mean, where do I start? Where do I start?
You apologize for today?
You can start with the time you thought I worked at the Clevelander. Let's start there and work our way up.
This is so
That's
much
a good
worse.
episode.
This is so
Yes,
much
that's a
worse.
good episode.
This is so much worse. All right, I'm sorry, Pablo. Zaslow, do you have congratulations? I'm super proud of you for
Cue the fireworks.
For merely a nomination. It's not yet
Does
a
it
prize.
work when the EP says "allowed cue the fireworks"? Is that part of the?
Can you? But you didn't really answer my question of what finished second place to that one. Like what because it must have been hard to pare down your list. You're doing really good, comprehensive work that in sports it's unseen.
Oh, no one's trying, dude. No one's trying to do this. And by the way, this is the argument I always have behind the scenes now, increasingly about like degree of difficulty, what it takes. You guys, we're a company that hires journalists to do work like this at a time when everybody's running away from it. And so the follow-up, or the runner-up episodes. Sorry, someone's knocking at the door. Can I just take this? I actually don't know who this is.
Is it Joe?
I bet you.
Let's see who it is.
Let's
Hold
see
on,
if it's
find
over.
out together.
Let's see if it's Scarborough.
Let it be Joe.
What?
Please
let it be
Omika.
Please let it be.
Or his boss who's firing him.
Yes.
I mean, someone.
Stop talking
Hold on, lay
about.
out here.
Stop talking.
I'm just taking a work call. Shh. Okay. Yeah. Okay, absolutely. Yep, very good.
Wasn't Joe.
I got kicked out of the room, so I gotta go.
Cue the fireworks.
All right. What was second place? What finished second place?
I don't know. Subscribe and find out. God
Pablo,
damn it.
Pablo,
Bye.
one more question, Pablo. Have you ever done an episode? Oh, come on.
It's too bad.
What were you gonna ask?
If he's ever done an episode on helping a friend get tickets.
Zaz, I thought you'd never ask.
My man.
Game time.
But Mike said it best. The press box has changed. I mean, seriously, get over yourself. We're
Chris
going to
said it.
talk during the post game. Tim Reynolds, enough. I mean, enough.
I mean,
seriously.
you just got to know when
You're
the
not
Dan Le-
allowed to cheer in the press box. Did you know that?
Well,
That's
I
a
did.
They
cardinal
were cheering for
rule in
Will
baseball.
Manso. I think that's
Yeah,
allowed.
and Goldie. Yeah.
If the Dan Le Batard Show comes to a hockey press box, hilarity is going to ensue.
Yeah.
They're going to yell at Will Manso for 7 minutes, and you're probably going to have to go to a
7
stairwell
seconds.
to write, man. It's
If it was 7 minutes, I'd get it. It was
is what
7
it is.
seconds.
Exactly. I mean, David, everyone else was saying hi. They were enjoying the show. They were laughing at us. But one guy is still clutching on to his newspaper deadline.
I'm a little
and it's
disappointed.
Tim Reynolds.
And is he your demographics too?
I don't know.
I happen to like Tim a lot, and
Enough of him.
I imagine this was going to be like E.J. Raddick or something, but that's just a bad look for Tim Reynolds.
Listen,
Yeah,
I went
glad
up
you
to him
appreciate that.
afterwards.
This was the best part. Stugotz
Yes.
is like, I've known Tim for years. I'm going to go fix this. He walked to Tim and walked right back very quickly.
Yep.
It was a very quick interaction.
Well, he was writing. Okay?
He's on deadline. It's
Enough of the deadline.
It's a
We're
work.
on deadline.
defend
We're
him.
on deadline. I gotta get home. I feel like playing off hockey. I gotta get home. I mean,
Yeah, we're on deadline too. We got to get that post game out.
It is a working press box. Tim Reynolds is a journalist who's trying to write, and Stugotz is back there. Hey, Will Manso!
that was Chris and Goldie. Don't leave out Goldie.
We're on deadline too. They're going to kick us out of that press box a lot sooner than they'll kick out Tim Reynolds, who's just typing away. That's just
Those writers had their game stories done before the end of the
Precisely.
Yeah, a good writer, right?
Oh,
What happened there? I apologize to him. I've known Tim for decades. I mean, Cody was.